Hey, and welcome back to Paris Games Week. I'm Pandar.
And I'm Jason Paradise.
I know everyone in the chat was very excited to have you here, so thank you. Welcome to the casting stage, and props to Aza, who's going to be back doing the finals with Paradise here. So we just wrapped up the first semifinals of the Road to Paris World Championship. It was Avcol, the DreamHack champion, versus Matrix 6, the defending world champion, who was sent home in a heartbreaking Game 5 in a best of 5. I think that was one of the most incredible matches that I've ever seen at this level of competition. What did you think?
Here's the thing. If you would have said that Akamis would have come from a 2-0 behind deficit to sweep 3-0 against the defending world champion, I don't think anybody would have believed you. Akamis, somebody that people used to think was a troll champion, now is the reason that we have an underdog going into the finals, and could be an all underdog matchup if the upstart American player Smurfburn can take down the French genius Oyau. So it's going to be really exciting to see who comes out of this as the opponent for Avcol. Who do you got? I mean, this is going to be pretty exciting.
Well, just a note about Akamis, if he is the troll champion, I think that we just saw a 3-game troll of the defending world champions, Matrix Disc. Matrix Disc, the troll of trolls, just got trolled by Avcol with an OP, just awful comment stack. That was pretty vicious. But going into this game, we have the Oyau versus Smurfburn. I've seen Oyau play. He's a fantastic player. He's very smart. He's on the Millennium Pro Gaming team, so this is a guy who's been around the scene for a while. He knows what he's doing. Smurfburn, total upstart, just pretty much like a Magic the Gathering fan from California who got into the game earlier this year, is one of the most tenacious players that we've ever seen. I mean, this is a guy who, from the very beginning, he was the first. So just to give a little backstory, the way the North American Live Champion worked, whereas some of the European tournaments got direct bids to the Road to Paris, in North America, because the game is kind of new and the skill level for a lot of players isn't as high. We had 4 different live events in the country. The winners of each of them played against each other to determine who was going to Paris, Smurfburn being the top one. But he's proven thus far in this competition, he doesn't have anything left to prove coming into the top 4. Smurfburn is one of the best players in the world, and it's a mixture of intelligence and tenacity. He studies the game with an absolute vengeance. He has his partner Dietrich here. They've been scouting out all the other players, taking notes like crazy. I mean, this is a guy who studies the game like no one else, and you might be hearing a little bit of bias in this game. As the English commentators, we're both from North America. Me coming from California, Jason coming from North Carolina. We might be rooting for him a little bit, but again, Oyau is also a great dude, and we want to see both of them do well. I don't know if we're going to see the same kind of series that we saw the last game, though.
Yeah, I think that this is really worth pointing out. Oyau only lost 2 games yesterday. He lost 2 series yesterday, and it was to both of the opponents that have at one point lived in North America. So it's really crucial to point out, Smurfburn was his first match of the day, and Jay Zilla was his his last match of the day, his second loss.
Did Jay Zilla live in North America at some point?
He did.
Give us some backstory on that.
I think he said he lived in North America before moving to Australia, from when I was talking to him yesterday.
He's Australian, though.
Yep. Australian not by birth, but by living there. So
Australian by the amount of beers that he can drink, which I won't give the exact number that we talked about at dinner last night, but it was absolutely insane.
I think that we're about to get into our first game here shortly, and this is going to be, I think, probably the most telling series of the day, with the underdog in Smurfburn, who has been playing a lot of different decks. He's got Sandalphon. He told me earlier that he has an Akamis that he plans on pulling out at some point. I believe he has a Nurgle Slowpoke that he said he has in his inventory as well. Whereas Oyau, he was really playing a lot of control heavy-based decks yesterday. It looks like we're right about to get into our first game, and I see Sandalphon up on the screen. So we might be getting another of those Sandalphon, of course, such a really popular champion right now.
That Sandalphon aggro deck looks like it's going to be going into play. And, remember that Smurfburn is not only a study of the game, but a study of his opponents. He claims that he knows every single thing that could possibly be thrown at him. Just a recap for you guys who are tuning in to the stream now. These are the semifinals and finals of the World Championship. Yesterday was a round-robin stage from the 8 finalists coming into the competition. They were all allowed to bring their own decks in best-of-3 games. They were not allowed to change their decks in the best-of-3. Last night, they were given, each of the 4 going into the semis today were given an account with 20 of every card in the game, and they were able to build any dream deck imaginable, as many as they wanted, and they are able to switch decks in between each one, just not be able to switch cards. So they are bringing the best of the best minds into this game. So hopefully they have enough decks up their sleeve to be able to counter each other. But it looks like we're gonna go into the game here. Jason, what do you see with the initial matchup here?
So it looks like we have Oyau playing Cassandra with the beautiful, beautiful alternate art that I think only one person actually in the world has at the moment from a tournament victory, versus Smurfburn's Sandalphon that he's been prepping. And this is probably going to be a very typical 3-4-1 style build. When it comes to Oyau, however, we see some interesting things in his hand already. We see a pillage in his hand. This looks like it might be a very different Cassandra deck than we are used to, but it is probably going to be a fortune-based Cassandra deck. So something that is very strong in the current meta. And this match could go really either way. Haven being so incredibly strong right now, both players playing it, and we'll see what they are able to do. I think that Smurfburn being so comfortable on Sandalphon, though, has to have a good shot here.
Yeah, this is true, but also don't forget the Wolf Captain, which has been pretty much the bane of everyone's existence. Smurfburn able to take away one of the Wolf Captains. Interestingly enough, Smurfburn playing Crixius in the North American Live Finals. Crixius is a big Wolf Captain dude. Smurfburn is not afraid of the Wolf Captain. He's always willing to take it out. And he's going to deal Oyau some early damage and start opening up the board.
Yep, that Geyser play last turn, that definitely was a huge, huge spellcast for him, simply because now the Crusader Watchman down in the back line, if there is damage on this card, it doesn't have the ability to really attack unless he plays something like the Week of the Mercenaries, the training down here. And that's, being this early in the game, that's not going to be that great of an idea, simply because he doesn't have the resources for it. We see a Crusader Treasurer coming out. That's amazing as a Haven card right now. +2 income, so he will start gaining those resources much quicker. And we will see that the Wolf Captain is going to be attacking, which does do another 3 damage to Smurfburn. And this is really pretty even right now. Both players going very aggro early in this game. Smurfburn, in his hand, does have some stall cards for later with the Moon Phoenix. He does have those Crusader Watchmen as well. And if he does decide to do so, he's going to actually use the Sandalphon ability, is going to use 2 Training Day events. This is going to be a huge amount of damage down there on the bottom line by taking out that Crusader Treasurer, and 4 more damage from the 2 creatures on the top. I think that Smurfburn's in a good place.
Yeah, Smurfburn's in a good place, and it looks like he totally neutered that Wolf Captain over there. For those of you who don't know, Wolf Captain is a card that came out in the Void Rising expansion, and it's extremely popular in the Haven deck. It's actually a really good counter to Sanctuary decks because it's similar to the has a very similar mechanic to the Honor function, except it kind of works the other way. So what Oyau is going to want to do here is he's trying to build up creatures around this Wolf Captain that's going to increase his attack power. Smurfburn has not tried to keep any creatures in that lane. He's opening up to attack. So Oyau is going to try and get some damage through to that lane, but also respond to the other ones. And he does. He drops 4 attack on the hero. Another one. He's going to bring him down to 9, so now he's on top here. But Smurfburn still has a lot of board space that he can use to attack.
Indeed. And it looks like, again, Smurfburn and Oyau are really just trading blows right now, going back and forth. So much damage being pushed through by both of them that Crusader Watchman is going to come back into the
Phoenix.
And Moon Phoenix coming out, which that's a really strong board that he has now.
And Smurfburn pretty much empties his entire hand and almost has a full wall against Oyau here. That's gonna be really dangerous to go up against. He might even be able to take him out in the next turn if he gets the right pull on the next card. And I think this is interesting. We saw this in the last series where the first few games of the series are very aggressive. These guys just trying to get creatures out and do his damage as much as possible. These guys have been working for months to get to this point. They're very excited. They're very eager to do a ton of damage. And it was kind of funny to see in the last series of Matrix System versus Avcall where they sort of settled down as it went on and things evened out. As it became more clear what the stakes were, they didn't want to make any mistakes.
So here is something really crucial to think about. The card that's left in Smurfburn's hand oh wow, a Pow Death Seeker coming out. That is going to clear that Griffin off the top line. And if Smurfburn pulls the right card, he's in the perfect position to do the Wombo combo soon. And if he does that, he will clear off the board. So we do see Week of the Mercenaries being used. Another Ice Splinter. He's going to have to draw a card here. Is he going to grab? No, that is a horrible top deck for him. With the Cosmic Singularity is going to stop him dead in his tracks from being able to finish this game off, because otherwise he could have used both of the Week of the Mercenaries and finished this off. Instead, Oyau still has 3 life left, 2 Ice Splinters in his hand. If he is able to pull a Magic Peddler or the Song of the Lost on the next turn, he could finish this game out. But, of course, that does mean that he needs a little bit of help from Oyau as well, in that he can't have the board cleared. If Oyau can somehow take out some of these creatures, but looking at his hand, it doesn't look like he's really set up to do so. He has a Cosmic Singularity, he has a Pillage in his hand, which could stop the supplies at least.
Yeah, but at this point, it's not even about stopping supplies. He's got to get these creatures off there because he doesn't really have a whole lot that he can defend with them. And he has the Crusade Treasure, which at least has 6 health, which might be able to take some damage there. But other than that, he doesn't really have a whole lot going on here.
Yeah, completely concur. Oyau's in a little bit of a tough situation. He's got to think this through. He might want to use his Revised Tactics before drawing a card so that he has a better chance of getting the card that he needs. Revised Tactics, of course, will allow you to banish 3 cards of your choice from your deck. The reason, of course, you would want to use that is not only for the draw a card function, but to get better quality cards for what you're looking for at this point in a game.
It's true, but it's always a bad position when your opponent's bearing down on you like this and you don't have any sort of answer. And it's sort of that like, oh geez, I hope that I can get a card that helps me get out of this. That's probably one of the worst positions you want to be in. But it looks like he is building up his Wolf Captain there. He's able to get rid of the Radiant Glory. So that's going to do him some good here. That Moon Phoenix and the Archer is still on the board, only being blocked by a Griffin. If he's somehow able to boost the damage of the Moon Phoenix, he's going to be able to drop him down to 1 health.
Yeah, a Week of the Mercenaries coming up on the next event turn could be the end of this game, unless he puts that Marksman behind the Griffin. But if a Week of the Mercenaries comes up, this could be GG. No, a Week of Taxes is the event card that comes out. We knew the Cosmic Singularity was the next card in Smurfburn's deck. He's going to have to draw a card here. Strength of the Sea is going to be what comes out. This is GG. The Moon Phoenix is going to take out the Griffin. There is the attack. GG. Smurfburn is going to take game 1 here at the second semifinal for the road to Paris. That is one step in the right direction for our North American player.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive. I mean, he had Oyau on the ropes that entire game. I'm a little bit surprised that last turn that he didn't try and drop an Archer or something like that to block the attack there. I mean, he knew that could happen from the Week of the Mercenaries or the card that he played in order to do so. You think that he'd be a little bit better than that, but again, the heat of the moment, you never know when you're like trying to set up the next attack. But yeah, Smurfburn's going to take it 1-0. I mean, look at him. He has the face of a killer right now. Like he's ready to play. Oyau does not look phased one bit whatsoever. He's even laughing a little bit right here. He knows that he's a good player and he can come back, especially as we saw in the last series.
Yeah. In fact, I think it was just a little bit of a misplay from Oyau in that he basically was saying, okay, I've got the Marksman. I'm going to put it in the top row. If he would have put it in the bottom, he could have protected himself, but I think he had to protect himself from POWs as well. So it was just one way or the other.
Yeah, You gotta protect yourself everywhere, and you never know how it's gonna go. And jumping to this next match, this is pretty exciting. We're gonna see a Demiria mirror match. I think that they were probably both expecting the other to play something different. Instead, they're dropping probably what will be very, very similar decks against each other. So I guess this will probably be a good bellwether of actual skill. As these guys are going to be coming with very similar play styles against each other, and it's just going to be a matter of who can execute better and who is going to be able to pull the best cards right away. What do you expect to see in this match?
Well, just looking at the cards that we see in each other's hands, I mean, Smurfburn is playing a little bit more of an aggro Demiria deck, which is something he's very, very careful. I should say, very, very familiar with. It's one of his favorites. We do see Oyau playing something very similar as well. Has Might of Nature, so more of a Demiria fatties. Might of Nature, we saw Hikyu in his hand. Back in Smurfburn's, a little bit more control as well with the Void Arbiter. So this could really go either way. It will come down to who plays a little bit better, really, in this game, because this is a completely even mirror match that we are going to be seeing.
Yeah, especially as we're seeing the two juggernauts being dropped right away there. We're probably going to see very similar plays. He's going to be able to, and he pulled the exact same card that his opponent has over there. So yeah, we're going to be seeing the exact same thing. So Jason, as a player, when you get into these positions where you're pretty much coming with the same set of tools against the opponent, what do you think makes the difference? Is it who blinks first? Who makes the most mistakes? What do you look for when you're going into a mirror match?
Well, in a mirror match, it really comes down to knowing exactly what your opponent can do, and then being able to read them basically and predict, and then adjust from that. For example, if someone is playing a Demiria mirror match like this, and you have something, say for example like a Halls of Amnesia, using that at the right time, or in a Demiria mirror match specifically, knowing when to use her ability. Once we get up to 6 resource points, we'll really see what each competitor is bringing to the table when they decide to, oh, I need to fill the board with more creatures, or no, I'm going to use these 6 resource points to check my opponent's hand, see what they've got, and discard their spells. If something like Smurfburn is in control of the board, come 2 turns from now, and he decides, I'm going to use my ability instead of putting out another creature, he could get rid of something like Oyau's Might of Nature, his Insect Swarms. That could turn the entire game around. So we see a Bloater coming out. Is he going to use that with Week of the Dead? Yes, he is. He's going to take out that Lurker, which...
That is one of my personal favorite combos, when you sacrifice your own Bloater just to get rid of something. Sorry, I just had to put that out.
Oh, no, definitely. It's a great, great use of cards. But we do see Smurfburn is still in really good position as that Hellfire Maniac is going to come out, which takes out the Juggernaut, and we are in a great position for Smurfburn next turn to potentially use his Demiria ability, and that could shift the entire course of the game into Smurfburn's favor.
Yeah, that was a very smart use of the Berserk mechanic there. For those of you who are just tuning in, this is the second semifinals of the Road to Paris World Championship at Paris Games Week. We had the series earlier where the DreamHack champion Avcall faced off against defending world champion Matrix Disc, with Matrix Disc ultimately losing in a thrilling Game 5. Oyau able to wipe Smurfburn's board really quick there. Really impressive. Jason, I want to ask you, Demiria is an extremely popular champion, or hero in the game. What makes her so popular?
Well, just like we just saw, Smurfburn was able to gain control of the board enough. It forced Oyau to use his Forbidden Flame. That cleared the board. Smurfburn was in a good enough position that he was able to use Demiria's ability. Demiria's ability is so strong. So he was able to discard...
What is Demiria's ability,
for
those who don't know?
What it does, basically, is it allows you to look in the opponent's hand, take one of their cards that is a spell-based card, and discard it. If they have multiple of the same, they discard all of them. He saw that he has the 2 Insect Swarms in his hand. He knows that that's coming. He was able to discard Might of Nature, which completely wrecks a Demiria Fatty's deck. So, Smurf's in a great position now. We see that he has Forbidden Flame in his hand. And Oyau's basically used a lot of his tools already. There it is right there. Just as I was calling it, Forbidden Flame comes out, and now Smurfburn is putting down the Void Arbiter, which locks Oyau from picking any other cards up. He's going to be forced to either use his 2 Insect Swarms now, or potentially the Firebolt in an Insect Swarm, something to regain control. I say Smurfburn is in a great position.
Yeah, that Void Arbiter is kind of a double-edged sword, though, especially, when you dropped a bunch of cards like that and, your hands are sort of even. I mean, I've been in positions before, like playing where, you drop it and you realize, oh man, it really would have been nice to draw a card right now. Why do you think that's going to have more of an effect on Oyau than on Smurfburn himself?
Well, I mean, with what we're seeing right now, I feel like Oyau using all of his tools so early might potentially be a little bit of a downfall for him. But again, the thing is, he could just ignore this Void Arbiter, right? This could be something that really bites Smurfburn in the butt if he is not able to turn this around and use it for himself, basically. Because there we go, we see Might of Nature being banished basically from Smurfburn's deck as well. So
he's not going to be able to bring that back and use it. That was a good move.
Right. So, again, both champions, well, there's the first damage of the game. I was just going to say both champions at 20 life, but 2 fireballs are going to come out, and Smurfburn still has so many tools in his hand. He has his Doombringer, so he can still clear the board. We see another Void Arbiter in his hand. He likes the position he is in. He likes the fact that he is going to be able to have control of this board and do the damage as he pleases. Oyau, I don't think is in the best position.
Yeah, that Doombringer is a pretty vicious card to have on the board, especially when you have as many strong creatures that he has on the board right now. Oyau does not have a whole lot in his tool set. The Lurker in the Dark, might only be good against the Succubus, or definitely not the Void Arbiter. He's got 2 Insect Swarms, which Smurf already knows is coming. He's going to drop it on him right there. Yep. He's going to do the double Insect Swarm. Yep, he's going to be able to almost wipe the entire board, only leaving the Lilum right there, and
that actually is a perfect play from Oyau in my opinion.
That was smart, yeah.
Because he has to be able to draw a card and get back some sort of advantage, something to be able to combat this aggressiveness that Smurfburn is bringing to the table. We see another Void Arbiter coming into play though, and he is perfectly okay with leaving this as is, only having that Doombringer in his hand, which he's not going to play because he doesn't want it to be able to die. If Oyau, for example, had some sort of spell, something like that, that would kill it and then clear the board, that would be a really tough position for him to be in. Oyau's hand, we see that he has Earth's Grasp. That could be useful, could not, depending if Smurfburn is playing any POWs in his hand. We see the Caller of the Void, that could potentially help, but again, I feel like Smurfburn is in a very strong position, just basically saying, I've got my Void Arbiter, I've got my Hikyu, and I'm okay. There we go, Oyau just took his hand. He checked to see if there was anything that could kill his Caller of the Void, and I'd say that this looks pretty decent, again, still for Smurfburn, but we'll see what he's able to do. Is Oyau going to move that down to block? No, he actually does attack. Wow, what a pull by our American player as Time of Need comes out, and that could really help him out as well by pulling out another card that he might need. Let's see, what would he have in his deck still? A unique card. He's already used his Hikyu. He's already used... So he has Garen's Purse and Shinoshi. He's going to pull Shinoshi out. That's going to be so much damage on the board, and Oyau's really got no way to stop it.
Yeah, he doesn't have any way to stop him right now. He's probably going to want to draw a card or do something here to get that out there, or at least, put some kind of block on it.
He can't draw a card. Void
that's right.
Out.
Yeah. The Void Arbiter's out, so he can't draw a card. There's not a whole lot he can do there. He still has enough health left that he can survive probably a little bit longer if he can block some of the damage here. Smurfburn, the only shining light for Oyau right now is that the Doombringer is not really a card that Smurfburn's going to want to play at this point. It's something that you want to use, when your opponent has a ton of cards against you already to wipe the deck. But Smurf isn't going to want to play that when, killing it would actually be more of a boon for his opponent than for him. But I don't know, what options do you think Oyau has right now?
I mean, he's going to have to play the Caller just to block at this point. What else can he do? He has to be able to take out this Void Arbiter because that's what's killing him right now.
That seems like such a waste of a Caller when you have to drop one of those just to block, you know what I mean?
He has nothing else he can do, though. He's going to move that up to block the Shinoshi. He's going to put the Caller in the top row so that potentially he has something he can do to get rid of this Void Arbiter in the top row that's absolutely killing him right now, because all he has left in his hand is an Earth's Grasp. That's it, and that's not going to be of any use.
Absolutely nothing for him.
Look,
that attack anywhere.
And this is basically GG unless Oyo has something that pops up. If he has a Doombringer maybe, and then a Week of the Dead. Aside from that though, there is not much else that can save Oyo. Only a Firebolt. That is
That is the last thing that he wanted. That's not gonna do anything for him right there.
Oh,
wow, thank God. You know, how do you feel when you're in this position and you bring down that fireball and that's all you got?
Well,
you have to feel sick to your stomach.
Well, you know how you have to feel? You have to feel exactly like Avcol felt in the first set because he was in this same position, being down now 2-0, and he came back to win 3-0. It's not all lost for Oyo, but you must think Oyo has to be in the mental state of, oh my gosh, does this American player have my number? Because he lost to him 2-0 yesterday as well.
Yeah, it's true. And Smurfburn, he's going to take the second game of this series looking incredibly strong, just total command of the board. I mean, there wasn't even really any trade there at any point where Oyau looked like he could fend him off. I mean, that was complete control every single time. You know, in the last game we saw Matrix Sis take the first two, only to have Avcol take the following three and win the series. It's been a crazy tournament so far. We've seen a lot of nutty things happen in the round robin stage, but I don't know, you usually don't see lightning strike twice in the same place, so I don't feel particularly good about them going into it. I mean, also, we were in a position the last series where Avcol was just throwing every strategy that he could at Matrix before landing on the Akamis, which did eventually carry him to victory, use it for the 3 games in a row. But both of these guys are throwing different things at each other. And I don't know. I mean, maybe Oyau can come and win one more, maybe even 2 more. But Smurfburn is looking very dominant here. This isn't really a case of you know, bad matchups. This is just better execution on his part.
Well, to be fair, he did have some really good top deck pulls. He did. He got a really amazing pull in the fact that he had the Hikyu come out into the time of need for Shinoshi. That was awesome play by Smurfburn being able to get that at the right time. And then Oyau now is just kind of stuck up against a wall in kind of the same boat that he was and that Avcol was in.
Yeah,
so
well, yeah, and he got those pulls early too, which forced Oyau to use all of his best cards just to stay alive in there. But Smurfburn still had a much better arsenal like waiting for him. But, you know, even still, and these guys are going to go into the second game, and once again, we're going to see them switch up their strategies completely. So, again, it's just a toss-up on what we might be able to see here. Oyau has to feel a little bit nervous, even if he is. He's a pretty calm, collected dude, so I don't think he's sweating it too much. But I think, you know, we're here at the ESWC stage. This is the World Championship. The winner of this is going to go on to the finals and face Avcol. The winner of that finals is going to walk away with not only the bragging rights, being the world champion, but also is going to take Razer Blade Pro home from our partner and sponsor Razer, which is pretty sick. I mean, those are pretty sweet laptops. But we're going to go into the match now. It is 2-0 Smurfburn. Oyau has to win this game in order to stay alive in this series. And again, you know, we're seeing something completely new. Jason, what do you expect to see from this game?
I have to give the edge here to Smurfburn again. We have Ashuma on the right side.
We're not biased, we swear.
I really am not trying to be biased whatsoever. I have to give the edge to Smurfburn in this match, though. Ashuma is going to be really rush heavy, and this is an outmaneuver deck, which I think is one of the strongest decks in the current meta. Versus Oyau's Akane, which is a very late game heavy deck, and he played it very well yesterday. He won every time he played Akane, to the best of my knowledge. So this could be something Oyau could come back with if he's able to drag the game out long enough. But he needs to get to the point where he can get spells into his graveyard and be able to pick from them. Akane's ability allows her to pull a spell back from her graveyard so she can use it again. Can he make the game last long enough? Because it's basically permalock once you get to that point. Whereas Smurfburn, he's going to be moving creatures around as fast as he can, putting out damage. And look at this, Oyau's already at 11 life. This is not looking good for him.
Yeah, I mean, I think even the Twitch chat is saying right now it's pretty much GG'd. I mean, in the case of this game, it might just be a case of, oh, well, that was kind of a smart move. At least he's going to neuter him a little bit there. we'll see. We'll see how it plays out. But interesting to see Smurfburn in a position here where he might be going to the finals. Say what you will about not good players going into the finals, but these are the best of the best. We took the 8 top players in the world that got here, and Smurfburn and Avcol are the ones that eventually triumphed over the opponents. These are best of 5 series, so they had a chance to come back, and we are seeing the best players in the world going into the finals. They just might not be who you'd expect.
It's really crazy to think if Smurfburn wins 3-0, he really did have Oyau's number. He beat him 2-0 yesterday. It is 2-0 right now. And Oyau, this player that absolutely smashed the entire competition yesterday,
and keep in mind that Oyau is one of our July online champions, so he actually had a tougher road to get here. I don't know, just give a recap on how those bids work. So basically it was over the course of an entire month, players registered online, if they met the ELO requirements, and at the end of it, the top 16 players on that leaderboard. Do you even remember what Oyau was? He was like 51-1 winning streak or something like that to be to be in the top 16 on the leaderboard, and then had to compete in a single elimination tournament of the top 16 to get to this point. So he is one of the top players from the greater online community.
And as we look at this board right now, Smurfburn has such a strong top lane. So strong. He's got that Sayama Spy, so he can start pulling cards. He's got that ambush creature in the top row as well. Oyau is going to be forced to pull a card. He pulls a Focused Mind, which really isn't going to be the best card to have for him right now. He is going to have to play something in the top row to block, even though ambush is there, so he's going to double up on that. He's got Asafa here, who is going to do a little bit of attacking at least, so that he can again put down a cripple counter, which he does put on the Sayama Spy. And Oyau doesn't look like he's in the worst position. He did just get to 6 magic, so he can use something like Forked Lightning. But will Smurfburn be able to continue to push damage through? We see he has a Pow Deathseeker in his hand, and he does have Week of the Mercenaries played as well. So how is this going to go out? He looks like he's going to attack and clear out the top row, but we'll have to see what decision he makes with his other 3 resource points. That Sayama Spy is going to clear out that top row. He's going to be able to draw another card as well. Look at all the outmaneuver in his hand.
He's just going to be able to throw Oyau around like a rag in this game.
And he is going to outmaneuver the Gargoyle up and do 3 more damage with his Sirensa here in that 3rd lane. Oyau, what spells does he have to choose from? He has a Tsunami available to him. He has Father Sky's Wrath, which isn't going to be very helpful. There are no flying creatures on the board.
I don't think
Smurfburn
has any flying creatures in his arsenal right now either, so that's going to probably help him out a lot.
If we saw, Akane does have some great schools of magic available. She could pull out the Wombo combo. He does have the Ice Splinters available. So we could see something to that nature coming in the next few turns, but right now, he does not have that capability. Tsunami is going to be the only choice. He is going to clear out the board. He loses his Asafa for it, but he was at least able to do a little bit of damage from that. So Tsunami comes down, another Scholar coming out, and Oyau's back in this, but at the same time, we see...
Yeah, but think about the creature advantage, though. Oyau only has 1 creature in his hand, and Smurfburn has just an entire army waiting to drop out that aren't that expensive of cards to play. He's definitely still in it. The health right now is pretty similar. 8 to 13 is not something that's out of reach. But I think that we're probably going to see this game decided in the next 2 to 3 turns. I would wager to guess. It all depends if Oyau is going to be able to draw some creatures to hold him off.
Not necessarily even, because if he gets the spells he needs, he can clear the board. Akane is very control heavy with the spells she can use. So if he's able to pull something safe like a Forked Lightning, that would be a lot of damage that he could put out. The thing is, though,
he's going to be able to need to do some damage to the other heroes, what I'm saying, because the people that he has right there, one doesn't do any, he has 1 damage. You know what I mean? Like, he's got to get a little bit of poke going out there.
It's really coming to the point now where if Oyau can last a few more turns, he has a darn good shot at winning this game. Another Tsunami coming out.
That was smart.
And Oyau is getting to the point now where he's got so many spells in his graveyard that once he gets the resources, he can pull those back, and he could potentially clear out every creature that Smurfburn puts on the field. So Smurf has to really push damage through here. We see that he has the Pow Deathseeker there. He's got, oh, look at this. He put creatures in every row, every lane here in that front row. He wants to be able to make sure he cannot be wombo comboed. That was very smart on his part. He knows that he's going to force spells from Oyau here. So Oyau either...
It's a shame he doesn't still have that Tsunami in his hand, otherwise he'd be able to get a good wipe on there.
Well, Tsunami being a 6 resource card and Akane's ability taking 6, once it gets up to 12, so 3 turns from now, Oyau could be in a perpetual state of Tsunami every single turn unless a Mana Storm is out.
So he's just got to survive 3 more turns, and then he could be right in it, so that's going to be the key to his survival in this game.
Here he goes using one of the new Fortune cards, favorite spell, able to search your library. He pulls out a Geyser. This is going to clear out 3 creatures from the board. And Oyau is buying time just extremely, extremely well.
Yeah, hopefully he can keep it up. I mean, he's got a full hand right now, so he has a lot to work with. Smurfburn is just burning through his creatures right now.
This is crucial.
Yeah.
Look at this. He has a Pow Deathseeker on the top of his deck. He has one in his hand. He's getting to the point now where he almost has enough. If he pulled a card, there was a creature there, and he actually, and this is a risk, but if he draws a card and there's a creature, oh my god, he can finish the game right now. 2 Pow Deathseekers. This is going to be 3-0. Smurfburn is going to advance.
Smurfburn is going to the finals, baby. The North American Live Champion is going all the way, and he's going to be competing for the World Champion. I don't think that anyone saw that coming.
Unreal. Smurfburn able to finish off Oyau. Oyau did not get 1 win against the American player.
Reddit is going to be a cesspool tonight of comments after that match. I don't think that anyone saw this coming, especially Avcol going in. We see the competitors going over to shake hands here. It was a well-fought match. Smurfburn, he's just the better prepared player. He knows exactly what he was going up against, and he had a counter deck from pretty much everyone.
Unreal. So Oyau, who was one of the favorites to win, we are going to have an underdog champion. We are going to have a world champion that is an underdog.
Either way you slice it, I think that we've got 2 underdogs in the world championship. So that's really exciting. And he came out and he just had control the entire time. I think that Pow Deathseeker was just a really lucky pull that he was able to do it. So, for someone who went this far with preparation, he ended up going to all the way, just a little bit of luck.
Unreal. So not 1 game. In the 5 games that Oyau played against Smurfburn at this event, he did not win once.
Which is nothing to take away from his skill, because Oyau is such an extremely strong player. I mean, he obviously made it into the top 4 and is a pretty terrifying opponent. I just don't know why he couldn't pull one off against Smurfburn. What crux was that? But he ended up taking it pretty well.
So guys, I think we're about to go on a short break, and we will be back with the finals. Say bye to Chase. Chase, you're
thank you so much for having me here to cast today. It's been an honor being here for the semifinals. When we come back, it's going to be Aza and Paradise doing the finals, but I'm sure we'll be back again soon. We'll see you on stream.
So we will be right back, and we've got the finals on the way. It will be Smurfburn, the North American champion, taking on Avcol, someone nobody thought was going to make it to the finals. Who will be the 2013 world champion? We will be right back very shortly. Stay tuned.